Well, a new investigation, meantime, has found that a group of Russian special agents followed opposition leader Alexey Navalny for years before he was poisoned this summer. The report says that the agents from Russia's security service, the FSB, were part of an intelligence team specializing in toxins and nerve agents.
An independent, thorough investigation of a crime that the Russian government refuses to consider. Investigative website Bellingcat reveals a story about a specially trained team of Russian agents with the goal of poisoning dissident Alexey Navalny with a deadly nerve agent, Novichok. Hi, it's Navalny. I found out who tried to kill me. I know where they live and where they work. I know their real names, their fake names, and I have photos of them. Bellingcat worked with Russian news organization The Insider, German newspaper Der Spiegel, and US broadcaster CNN to map out evidence that Navalny was being followed by the Russian security service, the FSB, well before the incident, and even revealed previous attempts to poison him. This is a story about a secret group of killers from the FSB, which includes doctors and chemists. It's about how they tried to kill me several times and once nearly killed my wife. You won't hear about this on TV, especially that the one giving orders to this group is Russian President Vladimir Putin. They used publicly available flight logs and other information to back up their claims.
When we did this, we found that there were 3 people who had the same flight itinerary as Navalny. But then we were really surprised when we looked more into these people, and we noticed that these people, along with a few of their colleagues, had followed Navalny for over 30 trips since 2017. So practically every time Navalny went around Russia, because he was a presidential candidate starting in 2017, these people had the exact same travel itinerary following Navalny.
Navalny, an anti-corruption activist and Kremlin critic, fell dangerously ill on a flight from Siberia to Moscow in August. He was later flown to Germany's capital Berlin for treatment and was in an induced coma for 2 weeks. German, French and Swedish laboratories have determined he was poisoned with the Soviet-era nerve agent Novichok. Navalny has long held the Kremlin responsible for his poisoning, accusations Moscow has repeatedly denied.
And let's get more now from DW correspondent Aaron Tilton, who is in Moscow. Aaron, what does the Kremlin have to say for itself?
Well, the Kremlin is, of course, denying these allegations that are being leveled by Bellingcat. That's something they've been doing actually since day one, since Alexey Navalny was actually initially poisoned. Now, Dmitry Peskov, who's actually President Vladimir Putin's spokesman, said that these accusations can't even be labeled as fake news. He actually used an English profanity to describe the Kremlin's viewpoint of these latest accusations. So I think it's safe to say that the Kremlin is using the harshest possible rhetoric to push back against these accusations.
Where's the investigation, Aaron? I mean, how does the Kremlin justify the fact that it has denied international pleas for an independent investigation?
Well, the Kremlin maintains that they actually initially offered to conduct a joint investigation with German authorities after Alexey Navalny was transported to Berlin for medical treatment. Now, they actually say that Alexei basically refused to cooperate with Russian authorities, which is why they can't investigate any claims that he was poisoned. Now, of course, that's not entirely surprising. Alexey Navalny maintains that these Russian authorities were actually involved in an assassination attempt on his life, so it's not surprising that he wouldn't want to work with them directly. Now, Russian authorities also say that they haven't actually seen any direct evidence that Alexey Navalny was poisoned. In fact, Russian doctors are saying that his condition could have been caused by a metabolic disorder, dehydration, maybe have something to do with drugs, anything but an actual poisoning. And, you know, that flies in the face of international authorities. I mean, we've seen laboratories in Germany, in France, and Sweden, and also from an anti-chemical weapons group called the OPCW, who have said that, yes, Novichok, a Soviet-era nerve poison, was used to poison him. But that isn't really enough for Russian authorities, which is why they've, up to this point, refused to open an investigation into the poisoning.
And how about these new revelations, Aaron? I mean, how is it that these domestic intelligence operatives within Russia apparently shadowed Navalny? How were they identified?
Well, I mean, this is basically goes up to Bellingcat. You know, they've made a great name for themselves in recent years with basically forensic-style investigations into online information, and they've done some incredibly detailed work into the machinations of Russia's intelligence services, specifically the FSB. And in this case, they were able to use publicly available information online and also information that they were purchased from Russian data mining websites to establish connections between a company they say is involved in the production of nerve toxins and the FSB. And using those phone numbers, they are able to identify 8 operatives that they say have shadowed Navalny since 2017. Now, Bellingcat maintains that this establishes a hard connection between the poisoning of Alexey Navalny and the FSB. And if this data pans out, it could go a large way to establishing that hard connection.
Aaron, just very briefly, Navalny in Germany, a loud voice critical of the Kremlin. How is it now? How is he operating now that he's not in Russia?
Well, I mean, Alexey Navalny has made a name for himself as an opposition critic, and partially it's because of his incredible use of social media. I mean, he has a YouTube channel which is viewed by hundreds of thousands every week here in Russia, and he's basically managed to establish a large connection with a huge team of followers here in the country. And while Alexey Navalny may be in Germany right now, his team is still working here, and they're still raising their voice in opposition to a lot of Kremlin parties.
Aaron Tilton with The View from Moscow. Thank you.